Hi, and welcome to the Skincarma Pod. I'm Carmine, the creator and voice of the Skincarma blog. With more than 25 years in beauty as a brand builder, copywriter, and skincare junkie, I'm putting my product wisdom and expertise to work demystifying skincare. On today's episode, I'm joined by Shelley Hancock, a licensed esthetician, educator, and the author of Aesthetic Success, A Seasoned Esthetician's Journey. In fact, Shelley is a master esthetician, an esthetician's esthetician, the educator of others in the field of aesthetics. What I love about Shelley's journey is that it isn't linear and it isn't polished in hindsight. Before aesthetics, she moved through multiple careers, multiple attempts at the winning formula, and a lot of internal questioning. Like many of us, including me, Shelley tried things she was good at but not fulfilled by. And eventually, she found herself in aesthetics, where confidence, curiosity, and a belief that nothing is impossible finally had a place to land. Shelley and I actually share some unlikely overlaps: time spent as bank tellers, early work in cosmetics departments at Macy's, and big moves to Los Angeles in our 20s. But here's where our stories diverge. LA was a place where I thrived creatively, and for Shelley, it was a season that clarified what wasn't working. Today's conversation is about the stumbles before clarity, the confidence that precedes competence, and what happens when you stop trying to force a career path and start trusting your instincts instead. All of which led her to her role today as an esthetician's esthetician. I'm excited to tap Shelley's wisdom and hope you'll find inspiration from her experiences. I know I have. So let's get to it. Let's talk to Shelley. Shelley, hi.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. I'm so excited to have you on. And like I said, I have been reading one of your three books. You have three books, right?
Actually, five.
Five. Okay. Well, I've been reading Aesthetic Success and Seasoned Esthetician's Journey, and I don't know. I am not going to be an esthetician. And I think the one thing that really stood out to me, I guess that really resonated with me, is the way you talk about finding what you're passionate about and really stumbling through whatever you have to get through to land there. And I just that just really struck me. I really appreciated that.
I love that stumbling. I've
Right,
always
because that's
called it
kind of what it
leaping.
is.
Well, I've always called it leaping, but you're right. It has been kind of stumbling.
Yeah,
Sometimes I leap
yeah.
and then there's a stumble at the end kind of thing.
Yeah, the trials and tribulations. But before
Yeah.
we jump into your career, I want to know more about you, who you are outside of your career. Where did you grow up? And funny, if I'm thinking about this, like I sometimes would ask, someone who's very accomplished like yourself, did you always want to be an esthetician? But I know that you did not always want to be an
You read the
esthetician.
story. Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. Well, I'm a California girl, grew,
Uh-uh.
grew up in California. In fact, I literally just moved out of California for the first time in my life. I'm in Nevada now. I wanted to live
Okay.
closer to a sister here in the Las Vegas area, and I've got to tell you, I actually really love Las Vegas. It's pretty
Wow.
cool
Okay.
here. It is.
It's
And
not
yes,
cool
you're
in the
right.
dog days of summer, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, You're correct. I had no idea when I was younger I was going to be an esthetician.
Mm.
I definitely went from job to job to job, but looking back at it now, each one of those jobs add a little piece of the overall picture of things I needed to know to become a business owner down the road. So it all kind of worked in my favor. But as I wrote in the book, my dear dad sat me down at, I think it was like 25 or 26, and said, "Oh, please, Shelley, before I leave this world, will you please figure out what you're going to do with your life?" you know?
I love that. And actually, I love that you brought that up because that was going to be my first question. To go back to that moment, when your father said that to you, that please find what you want to do before I'm gone. And it reminded me, I don't know if that was generational, but it reminded me of something that the second generation family founder of Keels said. And we used to, you would love it because I always gravitated towards the quotes from the founding family, and I
Yeah.
would use their quotations everywhere because they had all passed, right? But their words lived on. And he said, love what you do. That's the trick of life. Love what you do, and you will be rewarded. And that is exactly what your
Right.
father was getting at, right?
Well, I'm not so sure if he was getting at love what you do. He was just like,
Right.
do something and stick with it. I think that's more what he was getting at because I just did so many things. I mean, I started out as a very young girl as a professional dancer, and I thought I was
Mm.
going to be big in the world of dancing until I moved down to Hollywood, and I was just a little teeny tiny fish in this big sea of gorgeous, talented women, you know. Um, yeah, and it was that moment because I was daddy's little girl. That moment when he said that to me, it hit my heart. Like, oh, I really do need to find something, but I still fell into this. It wasn't as if all of a sudden after I had that conversation with him, it was like, oh, I'll be an esthetician. It
Uh,
wasn't that at all. It was still a falling into finding this thing.
yeah, through multiple things, and I we talked initially, and I think I knew at the time that when we had the conversation that you had a journey through Macy's on the cosmetic sales floor, as I did as a cosmetics department manager. Um, but we also were bank tellers, like, and I died when you talked about how your drawer didn't balance. And did you have a slush fund at the back of the drawer?
I don't recall. I don't think so.
They were perfect. They were completely illegal in terms of the auditors. But when we didn't balance, we would take that in order to balance ourselves. We would take whatever, if we were over by 17 cents, we would take the 17 cents and balance for the day and put the 17 cents into a little, like, I don't know what it was, a little cup or something at
Yeah,
the back of the teller drawer. And the next day, when you were under by 4 cents, you would take the 4 cents out of there and balance. And it was like a Ponzi scheme. It just went on and on and on. And it was so crazy. And I don't think the branch manager knew. All of the tellers knew. And it was like our own little secret. So
well, I wasn't clever enough to do that.
I had forgotten all about that.
That's funny. Yeah, bank teller. I've done it all. Definitely done it
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. How long were you on the cosmetic sales floor? I didn't seem to understand
Not
that.
long. Not long.
No?
I got the job, and how I ever got the job, I don't know because I didn't wear makeup. I still don't wear makeup. I'd never done sales before, but I guess I had enough confidence in myself that they just looked at me and the way I talked was like, okay, we can teach her. And I think I was there maybe 4 months.
Oh, wow.
Not that long. I didn't like the sale. Like there was
Yeah.
like really pushy on all that. And I also just didn't like the behind the counter gossipy, stuff
Mm.
that kind of went on with that. It wasn't for me. But I think as you read in the book was my third month there, I won salesperson of the whole cosmetic department, not just the Clinique counter, the
Right.
whole department. And that was because and this kind of started my whole thing into sales was if somebody came up to me and I knew that Clinique was not right for their skin,
Mm.
I would take them by the hand and I would walk them over to another sales counter, which
Mm.
Clinique didn't like so much. But
Yeah.
I was servicing the client, not particularly just selling for the company.
Right.
And that's how I started to get clients that coming back more and more and more. So that was kind of my first inkling of, oh, maybe I do kind of know how to do this. And it's really not about sales. It's about really listening to that person in front of you and what are their needs.
Right. It's so interesting that you in retrospect look back on it and see two kind of realities, right? Like you were in a role that you weren't qualified for, yet you made it something that did meet your qualities and then you kind of fulfilled the role in a way that nobody else had.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And
Yeah.
maybe that's the instinct that served you. I mean, I don't want to psychoanalyze your career, your trajectory, any of that, but I mean that's what stands out to me.
Well, it was kind of my first leap or my first fumble, whichever one you want to call it,
Yes.
right? My
Yeah.
first leap was like, okay, let me leap into this job that I don't have a clue what I'm doing, but I'm just going to figure it out while it's unfolding. And it worked really well for me, but it just didn't, there wasn't a passion. There was something there, but there wasn't a complete passion to spend the rest of my life behind the, cosmetic counter.
Right. And I mean I don't want to jump ahead too quickly to the aesthetics component and your first position as an esthetician, but did you know at the time that you were gaining the confidence that would serve you later in life, or that's in retrospect?
Yeah. In retrospect, by all means, I was just kind of just going, just like, I don't even know. It's like all kind of a haze right now. And I look back at it, I'm like, how did you do this without any experience?
Yeah.
Because I went from that job to a dermatology office doing computer work. Because I knew computer work. So
This is the data entry position.
kind of, yeah, let's call it
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Up in San Francisco, a dermatologist who was real cutting edge back then. And literally, I kid you not, 3 days into the position, he goes like this: Shelley, what I really need is a back office assistant. Can I train you to be my back office assistant?
Wow.
People go to school for this.
Yeah.
I knew absolutely nothing about dermatology, nothing. But here was somebody handing me this. And I
Mhm.
had to go home that night and like really like, whoa, I don't know anything, but somebody's willing to educate me on this. This could be huge. Don't be afraid. That's another thing, fear.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid. Just go for it.
Yeah.
And I did. And that's the place right there that started my whole career.
That was where you started touching skin or understanding skin?
Well, that's where this was in 1987,
Mhm.
a long time ago.
Yep.
He had an esthetician in his office.
Ah, okay.
That was absolutely unheard of back in those days, unheard of. And while I was um, doing mole removals and all this other stuff with him, right, I was watching this gal come out of this treatment room, and everybody would say, "Oh, thank you so much. I love you. I'll see you next month." And I'm like, wait a minute. Who's she and how do I get her job? That's what I want to do. And that was it. That was the first time I heard esthetician. So
Ah.
I quit and went to aesthetic school.
Did he support you quitting? Was he like, "Go do it, yes," or he was like, "Are you kidding me? I trained you to
I
do
think
this
it
other
was a little
job."
bit more of, are you kidding me? Because
Yeah.
I really had grown into I was really intrigued by what he was teaching me, and I became a good assistant for him, even though I
Yeah.
didn't have any formal background. I became a very good assistant. Um, and so I think he was a little disappointed that I quit, but I just knew, yeah, I could get this feeling that I want to do that.
Yeah. That's amazing. And I love how excited you get talking about that. And it reminds me of my career as a cosmetics department manager. I did that for I think 5 or 6 years. And I was in May Company, if you remember May
Oh,
Company back in the day. And I was an assistant manager. I got my start as assistant manager at May Company at the corner of Wilshire and Fairfax. And we didn't have the big three, Lauder, Lancome, and Clinique at the time, and I wanted more. And I, found a position at Bullocks in Century City, and I resigned. And and I thought that they would be okay with that, like they would understand it. And I remember the head of HR telling me that the door closes on my way out, and I was like, whoa. And that was it. I never went back.
wow.
Yeah, and it kind of launched my career.
Yeah.
Like I was like, wow, I'm pursuing what I'm passionate about, and it doesn't matter what you think.
Mm, mm-hmm,
Of
mm-hmm.
course, it was different. This wasn't his company, um, but yeah. So I mean, I just really love the idea of following what you're passionate about and kind of building on that. And earlier something hit me, and it's a concept of imposter syndrome.
Oh.
Like, there's a point at which you define yourself or not by what you're doing. And when you transcend the idea of yourself as an imposter in your job, I think that's when you really, fill out in your career and break through and find what you're passionate about.
Oh boy, is that a big one. And I
Yeah.
think that's pretty widespread. People in all industries can have that. I I was in my, late 20s, early 30s when all this was happening, and I remember thinking I've never been necessarily a super book smart esthetician. I
Hmm.
know what I need to know to get by, but
Hmm.
I'm more of the connector. I have that other thing with clients, and that's how I was able to build a business, was through that connection, not necessarily book smarts. And for a while, I had an imposter syndrome about, but I don't know all this stuff, to the T.
Yeah.
Like and then I had to really have a talk with myself and say, we all have strengths
Yeah.
and we need to play to those strengths.
Yeah.
And what you don't know, you just find out.
Yeah. It's completely true. So let's jump into that. You leave the dermatology clinic and you enroll in aesthetics school.
Mhm.
Like, this is in San Francisco?
Yeah, I went to a school in San Francisco called Zenzi's that I don't even think is there anymore. And I get to this school as a 27-year-old, and the second day I was there, the teacher walked out.
Mm.
And for like 2 weeks, we didn't have a teacher. And all the other younger students were like, "Yay, there's nothing to do. We just get our hours in." And I'm thinking, "No, wait a minute. I paid some good money. I want to learn. I don't want to just get hours in." So that's where my a little bit of being older, played in, like, "No, come on." But we ended up getting a really good teacher. I never missed 1 hour, and I graduated in 4.5 months.
Oh,
Boom.
wow.
Yeah, I wanted to get back out there. And then went back out into a medical office because that's what I knew was a medical office.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask you, like, about your experience in the medical office, like, with this was a plastic surgeon.
The first one was another dermatologist.
Okay. Okay. And so you're gaining this understanding of the skin, right? From all of this. Is that something you had also studied in aesthetic school? Like, I've never been to aesthetic school. I would never even touch someone else's face.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, of
what
course.
yeah,
Yeah.
is that what you learn, all of the physiology of the skin, in addition to the products that skin needs to be healthy?
Yeah. And all the equipment and all of that kind of
Mm.
stuff. You learn, I mean, it's like, yeah, so focused on that. But you just made me think about something like going back to high school. Right? I would ace all my tests, and then the information that went in this ear went out that ear once I got the A on the test. They just had
Uh-huh.
that kind of brain. I could take the stuff in, and it was kind of like that with school. I learned all that. I passed my state boards, very, very easy. And then I came out, and a lot of that didn't completely stick for me. I mean, now over the years, it's been 38 years now. You know, I've learned a thing or two.
Yeah.
But I think I had an on the spot education at these dermatology offices,
Yeah.
that a lot of it didn't have to actually do with being an esthetician, but it sure broadened my horizons of what I knew and how I could talk to clients then, because I could talk to them as actually patients, for dermatology, and then I went into a plastic surgeon office as well later on.
Right. Something else that stood out to me in the book, and it never even occurred to me that this was something that I practice and that I really strongly believe in. You recalled an instance, or maybe even instances, um, in the book about taking and making professional phone calls when you're out and about doing errands. Right. We're both rolling our eyes at that.
Hmm.
Where did that awareness come from? And I feel like today, where people are a lot looser, they want to do that. And I always push back on my clients that say, no, 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 it's fine. Like, I'm like, I'm not talking to you while I'm walking to the subway. That's insane.
Yeah, that's not professional to me. Like back in the 90s, everybody that works with me just laughs at me because I'm always saying back in the 90s, but we didn't have cell phones as much and everything. So you had to be there at your office to pick that phone call up.
Mm,
Or if you were calling them back afterwards. I think it wasn't until I started mentoring estheticians that I started, and that was more in around 2007, 2010, that I started noticing people picking up the phone while they were doing something else.
grocery shopping. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just like, no, guys, you can't do this with your clients. I know in this industry, we get close to our clients. You know,
Yeah.
they become almost like our friends or family, but still, it's not professional.
Yeah.
Not professional at all.
You didn't wait long into your work as a licensed esthetician to step into ownership, right? This was like a year and a half. Like, you are on fire at that point. Like,
I
what
am,
was
but I
that
didn't know I was
like?
on fire. I
You
didn't know I was on
didn't?
fire. That was just doing whatever came next in front of me. And, I
Mm-hmm.
was just happy to be doing it. Yeah, I got a phone call so the first dermatology office I worked in was in a medical office that had a skincare center in there. And I
Mm-hmm.
became friends with the lady.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of years, no, let's see, I could be friends with her. I left that dermatology office. I'm working in a plastic surgeon's office, and she calls me and says, Shelley, I have the opportunity to go work at a spa in another state that's opening up, and I need somebody to run my little skincare center. And I want that somebody to be you. And I'm thinking, did you call the wrong phone number? Like, I haven't been an esthetician very long. I've never worked in the spa atmosphere. I've only worked in a medical office.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you calling me? But I think she saw something in me that I didn't even know about myself yet. So I stayed up all night thinking about it, and I called her and I said, yeah, let's do this. Let's do it. And literally, I kid you not, I met with her at her spa the next day for 3 hours to show me kind of where everything was. And she left. And I never, ever, ever saw this woman again.
Oh,
Never saw her again. We kept in
like that
touch.
first teacher.
Yeah, yeah. Was he something about me?
Right, Shelley.
um, yeah. So she took off, and of course, I was running her spa, so we kept in touch. But I mean, kind of there I sat, and I really took a look at her appointment book a couple days into it. And I'm like, oh, I know why she wanted to leave. There's no appointments booked on this appointment book. Like, it was a dying little business.
Oh,
And that's why she took off to this other opportunity. But me and my naivety of youth, well, I'm not going to let this thing die, right? I'm going to grow. I don't know how. I don't know the first thing about running a business, but I'm going to do this. And I did. I just step by step by step, I grew that into a really, really successful business until I sold it in 2005
mm,
for 15 years.
wow.
Yeah. Oh, and stories. I mean, yeah, I could tell you a lot of stories about those 15 years, but it was a great time. And
Yeah.
I didn't know enough to be afraid.
Mm, that might be the clincher right there.
That's it. I think
Yeah.
that's why I was successful. Is I didn't know I was supposed to be afraid. You know,
Yeah. I think that might be the episode title.
there we go.
Yes. I didn't know enough to be afraid. I have to remember that. All right. So you've moved into that where you're running your own skincare center. And when did you step into this role as a mentor, as an esthetician's esthetician, as I
I
characterized you?
love that. Thank you. I
Yeah.
love that. So we sold it in 2005, and I set up a room in my house just to do those couple of clients that were literally like family members at that point, um, while I tried to figure out what to do. And I literally have to say, I floundered for a few years. I didn't know, I knew that I wanted to stay in the industry, but I didn't really know what it was I wanted to do. I tried a little bit of network marketing, did not like that at all.
Hmm.
And then this was when aesthetic equipment started to really come out into the industry, like LED started coming out in the
Uh,
90s. In the 90s, all we had was microdermabrasion. That was
and
it.
steamers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with
Yeah.
steamers.
Yeah.
So I was really intrigued by all the equipment. So I started going to shows and I was buying things and I was working on these few little clients and family, started to see results. And somehow, I don't know that moment, but I started telling other estheticians about it. And then they were going to these companies and buying these pieces of equipment. And after about, I don't know, 6 months of doing this, all of a sudden I was like, well, wait a minute. I think I've got something here because I'm sending these clients over to these companies, these estheticians over to these companies, and they're buying equipment. Shouldn't I be getting a little something something for that?
Yeah.
Right? So I started calling these companies up and telling them, who I am, how long I've been in the industry, and here's the people I've sent over to you. They didn't know what to do with me because I wasn't asking for a job.
Right.
I was just saying, listen, if I'm going to send people to you, let's send a little something back my way too. And one by one they started to say yes, and this whole thing just started to grow. And I think it was by 2010 I opened up a training center, a
Mm.
1200 square foot training center because it just had
Wow.
gotten so big. Yeah, it was so fun.
And where was that?
That was in Foster City, California.
I love all of this. And the funny thing is, when I was reading the book, I don't think you mentioned where you grew up, or I didn't, maybe I skipped over that. And you talked about going to Hollywood, and I'm of course seeing it through my own experience where I grew up in small town Connecticut and went to college in like a bigger city in Massachusetts, which still was small town, and then I moved to Hollywood. And I didn't realize that you were already kind of there. Like it's just that you moved to Hollywood itself, but you were in LA, you were in California, you
No,
like
I was in Northern California,
in a small town.
in a small town. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, got it.
It's still kind of
Yeah,
the same thing that you're
yeah.
talking about, going from small town down to Hollywood as a
And you're
shop.
like, what the hell?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, exactly,
And you're looking up at
exactly.
that Hollywood sign going, what have I done? Oh my God, it took me a while to get used to that.
Oh,
Yeah. What do you think most aesthetics education misses? Like, and what do you focus on that goes beyond expected protocols and treatments in your work?
well, um, it's been so many years since I've been out of school,
Yeah.
right? But I love to go to schools and speak to the students.
Mm.
It's my favorite thing to do. In fact, I'm taking the show on the road in 2026, and I'm just going to start traveling around the United States and going to schools. I'm so excited about it. I feel like they focus on what you need to do to pass your state boards. Yes, we need
Yeah.
to do that. By all means. But I don't think there's a lot of focus on business
Mm.
or what you want to do with your career. There's so many avenues to take in this industry, and it would be nice when you get out of school to have an idea. I had an idea because I'd already worked in a medical office, so I
Right.
knew where I'd want to go. But when I go to schools and I ask them, where do you want to take this? There's all these avenues. I see a lot of blank faces.
Mm.
They're just not. They're just trying to make it through school. But I think it would be nice before you left to be able to have an idea of which lane you want to be in.
Right. And something else that comes up repeatedly in the book, or at least my impression, is this idea of confidence.
Mm.
Finding the confidence. And do you talk about that with the yeah, you do?
Oh, I definitely do. Definitely do. And a lot about the whole idea of body language because I watch the students. I watch even when I go into spas and whatnot, I see a lot of this kind of body language. The like, oh, the meek, like I don't know.
Mhm.
Versus if you just go like this, you just sit up a little taller and lean in a little bit. Maybe you don't know what you're saying, but your body language does.
Yeah.
So it's kind of starting with that. And then you kind of feel more confident when you're that way, or even when you're talking to your clients. having that authority voice. They're coming to us for a reason. So having an authority voice with them rather than, well, you think do you want to come back again next month? And, no, it's just, I don't know. It's hard and everybody's different, right?
Yeah.
If you try to act confident outside of the way that you are naturally, it's going to look off or
Yeah.
odd,
Yeah.
right? Because like I have this childlike playful excitement and that's what always drew my clients in. But it's natural. If somebody that was more quiet and reserved tried to act like that, people are just going to go, well, what are you doing? It doesn't. So you've got to find your own little groove.
Yeah. Do you think confidence is what holds most estheticians or maybe even young people back?
Confidence and connection. I think
Okay.
in this industry, connection is a really huge word. And I'll tell a story that I always tell.
Mm.
But when I owned that first spa, I had 4 treatment rooms in there, and
Hmm.
I rented treatment rooms out to people and estheticians or massage therapists. And they could come in and they could decorate their room any way that they wanted to. And this one particular esthetician came in and she put certificates on her wall of all the courses she had taken, all the workshops she's gone to. And I kid you not, there were 50 certificates on each wall. Like you couldn't even tell what color the paint was because they were like back to back to back. There were so many certificates. I was so intimidated. Oh my gosh, this esthetician really knows what she's talking about. But I watched her. I watched her interact with the clients and I heard her talking to the clients and she was talking very scientific to them and they're all this is all the stuff I learned. Look at everything I know. But there was no warmth.
Mm.
There was no connecting with this clients. And do you know she only lasted 3 months and
Oh,
she moved out.
wow.
She
She
couldn't make
packed
it.
all of those certificates and yeah,
Yeah.
and hightailed it.
Yeah. That's how important connection is in our industry.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I have two more questions, but before we wrap up, I want to talk about your books.
Thank
Like,
you.
what inspired you to write? Like, this is no small undertaking. I'm a writer and I haven't published a book. So,
Oh,
kudos to you. Like,
thank you.
yeah.
Thank you. Um, I've always been somebody who likes to write. As a young kid, I wrote silly
Mm,
little girl stories and whatnot. But I always wanted to write a book, but it felt daunting to me, right?
mm,
Do I have enough to say for a whole book? Well, way back in like 2015, I think it was, somebody approached me for an anthology book for successful female entrepreneurs.
mm-hmm,
And so I only had to write a chapter.
mm.
On anthology books are each chapter's by a different author. And I thought, what a great way to get started. I'll just write a chapter. And when I was writing that chapter for that book, I got to thinking, wait a minute, what if I started an anthology book for the aesthetic industry?
Mm.
And the esthetician's outstanding. Oh, kind of why can't I even remember it? So there's an anthology. I have 2 anthology books out there that I approached people in the industry that I've known who were very successful in what they do in the industry, and they all wrote a chapter. And so we have
Ah,
book one and book
wow.
two.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I saw that.
yeah. So
Yeah,
that's kind of how I got started, and then I've written 3 more just all by myself, and it's just
right.
for me, it's fun. I have such a passion for it.
So when you're writing, who do you imagine sitting on the other side of the page? Is it estheticians or is it you? Is it your younger self?
Ooh, that's deep.
Yeah, we're going to end on deep.
Wow. Yeah, I think it's estheticians and students, but I'm
Yeah.
going to rethink that now.
I love it. All right, last question.
Okay.
You've watched the aesthetics industry evolve dramatically over the years, from treatment rooms to social media, apprenticeships to algorithms. What do you think today's estheticians need to unlearn in order to build long, satisfying careers such as you've had?
Mm. I'm going to say this, but it's more maybe a personal thing. I don't know how others will feel out there, but I feel like we're too much social media
Mm.
and not enough real personal connection.
Yep, back to
Sometimes when I
connection.
watch
Yeah.
social media, I feel like people are like, look at me, buy me, come to me, just and things weren't like that back when I got started. And maybe it's just because I'm older and I can't imagine myself doing it like that I just feel like we need to get back to a little bit of basics, maybe. But
Yeah,
maybe that's just my way of thinking right now.
your words of wisdom. All right, Shelley, let's do a quick lightning round. You can give me short answers if you like, or expound, up to you.
Okay.
Something you believed early in your career that you no longer believe.
Oh, that you needed to know everything to make it.
Yes. Your very first skincare product obsession.
I knew Jan Marini before Jan Marini was Jan Marini.
I don't know Jan Marini.
You don't know Jan Marini?
And we're the same age, so don't pull that card.
Oh goodness! So she was more in the aesthetic industry than in the yeah.
Okay. A job skill you never expected to use as an esthetician, but that you rely on or coach about now.
Oh gosh. Probably more the business end of it, because when I became an esthetician, I just thought that I would work in medical offices. So I teach a lot on the business end of it now.
Right. All right. Nobody knows skin health like an esthetician. What's the most underrated skincare step?
Sleep.
Yes, I love that. That's
Yeah.
incredible. Yes. I never credit when people say, you have such amazing skin for your age. Wait, how old are you? And I'm like, and I always say, look, it's sunscreen and niacinamide. And of course I wash my face, twice a day. But I'm also a huge proponent of not just getting a good amount of sleep, but getting exactly the same amount of sleep every day, and going to bed and getting up at the exact same time every day.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
makes a difference. It really
it
does.
does. And when I get to the pearly gates, I need St. Peter to tell me what it was.
Maybe shout down to all of us and let us
Hey,
know.
you guys, it's niacinamide. The place you go when you need to reset.
On the couch with my dog,
Aw, what's your dog's name?
Meatball.
Meatball. Is Meatball a boy or a girl?
It's a boy.
Okay, Meatball's a boy. That's
Yeah.
great. My cat Musaeus is asleep in the closet right now, or you'd be introduced. A skill you wish you had, or one you're working on.
Oh. I'm not very tech savvy. And I watch all you guys with these videos and all this kind of stuff, and you make it look so easy to just get on and do your own video, and it's probably not that hard, but I'm fighting that right now.
I
So
think
would like
it's a
to learn.
lot like you've been describing. You don't know what you don't know until you try it,
Yeah.
and it's really not that hard. Like, do you think that I was thinking that podcasting was easy? And by no means is it easy, but it's not as impossible as you think it is. Which goes back to that one quote that you love about the fact that nothing is impossible. I can't remember what it was.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's in the book. Yeah. Well, everyone just has to get the book in order to find
You
that quote.
have to get the book to find that quotation about possibility or impossibility. All right, finish this sentence. Confidence to me really means.
Confidence to me really means, wow, why am I having such a hard time with that? I think just the ability to push, leap, move forward when fear is present.
Excellent.
Yeah, leap even though you're fearful.
Love it. That could also be the episode title. All right, Shelley, this is incredible. Thank you so much. I'm going to drop links to this book and the others into the show notes for listeners I love this book, so everybody needs to get their hands on this.
I appreciate you so much.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing little bits of wisdom with me.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Shelley.
Bye, Lauren.
Ciao. Bye. All right. Thank you for listening to the Skin Karma Pod. Find more insights, real talk, and reviews of my favorite skincare products on the Skin Karma blog at skinkarma.com. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please rate and review this episode. It helps me to reach more listeners. Ciao.